to sing you through your dinner right now, I've got the Hanover High School VOX Choir. They're going to be treating it to National Anthem, followed by God Bless America.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave? When the storm clouds gather far across the sea, let us swear allegiance to a land that's free. Let us all be grateful for a land so fair, as we raise our voices in a solemn prayer of prayer. God bless America. This is thy land I love. Stand beside her and guide her through the night with the light from above. From the mountains to the prairie, to the ocean, like we fly with fall. God bless America, my home, sweet home. God bless America, my home, sweet home.
So, before I get into talking a little bit about my portion of the speech, portion of the evening, I wanted to make an announcement real quick. While I was setting up this evening, I got a visit from Joel Barrett. Joel Barrett is the vice principal over at the Hanover Middle School, and he also has Massachusetts Attacks softball. He made a donation today. They've been selling hoodies. One of my daughters is sporting right over there, holding Sarge. They were able to raise for veteran services here in Hanover $2,000 from the sales of that, from those hoodies right there. So I'd like to thank Joel Barrett and all of Massachusetts Attack Softball for that donation. Let's start with my speech, I guess. To this day, I keep learning what Veterans Day actually means to me. With each veteran and surviving spouse or Gold Star family member that I serve, tomorrow, Veterans Day actually means something different to me. It was my 1-year anniversary on November 5th. I've met new veterans, new people that help veterans, and have lost some veterans along the way. That being Gene Krause of the United States Navy, John Sierry of the United States Marine Corps, and one that actually hits close to home for me, Leonard Trainer of the United States Army. When I took this position, this gentleman walked up to me and he said, "You have a name that is very familiar to me. Where did you go to school?" I thought to myself, it's probably because my name is weird and he might be mistaking me for like a Trevor O'Keefe or something of that nature. I told him that I started going to school in Norwood and then moved to Bridgewater during the 5th grade. He actually replied to me, "That's how I know you. You were in my 5th grade class before you moved to Bridgewater." A week later, he came into the coffee hour with what would have been my class picture. He said, "You would have been in this picture standing right there." Immediately I remembered who he was by the sight of him and that picture, and the other teacher, the other 5th grade teacher there, Mr. Proctor. While helping his family with the eulogy, I learned so much about his service. A colonel who hosted many representatives from foreign allies. These visitors were so impressed with his attention to detail to the mutual mission. There were letters from all over the world expressing praise of his knowledge and demeanor to hosting these groups. This explains why he was such a good teacher and revered by his colleagues. All 3 of these veterans that I've mentioned have different stories of helping others and standing their ground when they are right, being humble enough to know when they're wrong. Being in the unique position that I am, those examples, amongst others, is what guides me every day when helping my brothers and sisters. A dedication to those other than myself is only one example of what Veterans Day means to me, and I just hope that before I leave this world one day, it was enough for everyone. And to be honest with you, I probably wouldn't be in this position had it not been for another resident, United States Marine Corps, Sean Carnell. He assisted me in pushing me into this position and giving me some of the knowledge when I was entering, and he's been there, and he's going to be there for hopefully as long as I'm in here. Sean, thank you very much. So technically we're running behind, but a little ahead of schedule because everybody's still eating. I wanted to acknowledge all the branches of service that are in here this evening. So when you hear your branch, please, with a round of applause from everybody, please stand up. How about the United States Army? United States Navy, please stand up, acknowledge. United States Air Force, this would be big 2 or 3. Yeah, there we go. United States Marine Corps, stand for good, please. We have any Coast Guard? Coast Guard here tonight? No? And I dare tread Space Force. Anybody here yet? Okay. All right. If he's ready, I have a local resident who is not only a United States Marine Corps infantry veteran from 1999 to 2005, he's also looked up to by many, including one person that's definitely sitting at his table. Hockey coach, he is such a great mentor to the youth around town. That'd be Sergeant John Fanning.
Good evening, everyone. So, first off, thank you to Terrence for putting this together, and I know it's been a year, Terrence, but I think we can all say that you've made a real difference. There's just a lot, I've noticed a lot more outreach, and it doesn't go unnoticed. And a special shout out to Sarge, too. So I just wanted to say, I'll be quick, because no one loves a long speech, and I didn't prepare anything, but I will speak from the heart. And first off, I have to say happy birthday to my fellow Marines. We're 250 years, we look really good. And the Marines can attest, but I'm sure those of you that have been around Marines, even our brothers and sisters from the other branches, know that it's drilled into you pretty early at boot camp or after boot camp, the importance of the birthday and the heritage, and that's a little bit what I'm going to speak to about today. But I also want to say happy Veterans Day to all of you that are here. We are all in the same brother and sisterhood, and it's one of the most cherished things that I have, that I carry with me today. And then those loved ones that are here with you, who really carry the burden when we're away, and who take care of us and take care of the things at home. You are the unsung heroes that don't get any credit, but here amongst us, you are loved and appreciated, and we thank you for all that you've done. A little bit about myself. I think it'd be better just to talk a little bit about what the military did for me in my service. And I was born in South Boston, raised in the projects of South Boston, with what I would consider kind of a typical South Boston family from the projects, meaning broken, riddled with addiction and crime. We had the opportunity to go down to Stoughton into public housing there. It was brand new, wasn't made of brick, which was nice. And that's where I pretty much finished out my high school. And just, you know, around that time when we were looking at schools, there were a couple colleges interested in me playing hockey there, and to be honest with you, I just didn't have the knowledge or the wherewithal on how to even tackle that process. So I missed 1 year of high school, and I realized very quickly that that was not going to be good for me to be just kind of wandering out there, hanging around doing nothing. So I joined the Marine Corps, and about a month later I was at Parris Island in October of 1999. And it took me a long time later to realize that it was really my faith in God that kind of directed me into that. There was a lot of time in between there, me realizing that, you know, there was a higher power that was directing me in that direction. I always thought it was just a good decision that I made, and the Marine Corps did the rest. But I realized later that it was that higher power that directed me there to the Marine Corps and really changed my life. And it truly did. Because I can tell you, to be in a community like this in Hanover, with 5 children, to be able to coach here and send my kids here and stand in front of you all, that is all a product of not just God, but what the Marine Corps did for me. It truly changed my life to be sitting here with Chris Saunders, Purple Heart recipient. Terrence had mentioned we got Cam Scott, one of the nation's newest United States Marines. Raise your hand there, Cam. To think back 26 years ago, that decision that was partly made by me, I would say, in a short 3 months, what Cam just experienced down at Parris Island could change my life forever. And the people that were around me, like you all, we don't have to know much about one another, but we have a certain bond that no one else understands. And to be able to impart some of those lessons that I learned through coaching, and, you know, Cam would probably agree, he needed a little extra attention going through the years. I love that about him, and he saw something that attracted him. And I remember before he left 3 months ago, I said, in those 3 months, everything will change for the rest of your life. And you've joined a brother and sisterhood and a larger community of veterans that will support you the rest of your life. Thank you. Happy Veterans Day to everyone. Appreciate you all.
And that leads me to our next speaker. This gentleman here, Hanover resident, Purple Heart recipient. He is also a big purveyor in raising money through his signs and other activism towards veteran services and mental health throughout the entire region. He served, I think it was first tour, right? First tour together? Yeah. First tour together with Mr. Sergeant John Fanning, that was right up here in his first tour. That would be Corporal Christopher Saunders, United States Marine Corps, 2001 to 2008.
All right, thank you very much. So I wrote down a speech, but unfortunately it's not going to be half as good as John's, who just winged the entire thing. So I'll make it, it's pretty succinct, but it's, I think it's right to the point. So first off, I wanted to thank Terry for inviting me here to speak, and thank you for all his continued work. Him and Sarge has been an absolute pillar of strength for this community. And to me, I think community means kind of everything, right? Kind of like the same background as John. Grew up in Dorchester, dropped out of high school my freshman year. You know, dropped out of high school, doing bad things with bad kids who I thought were my friends and getting arrested and going down the wrong road. Working construction, 9/11 happened. Me and one of my friends, Joey Nascarella from Southie, drove down to ground zero like a week and a half after 9/11, saw the massive crater in the earth and kind of had that same feeling like John, like something's pulling me to do something, like I have to change, right? So right after that, I signed up for the Marine Corps, and then kind of did my thing, was lucky enough to do my first deployment with John. And now we're in this beautiful community, and thanks to Terry's, all his hard work for bringing all the veterans together for this beautiful night, Marine Corps birthday, 250th birthday. So thank you for him and Sarge for all their continued work that they're doing throughout this beautiful community that I'm so blessed to be a part of. Been down here for 10 years, love this town more than anything itself. Lucky, blessed to raise my 3 beautiful kids here as well. So Sarge, Terry, thank you so much. All right, so today we gather, obviously, to honor the brave men and women who proudly wore the uniform of the United States Armed Forces, the cloth of our republic. Those who have defended our freedoms, protected our communities, and stood ready to serve whenever and wherever called. Veterans Day isn't just another day on the old calendar, right? It's a somber reminder of courage, sacrifice, perseverance, and gratitude. Right? Gratitude for those who came way before us and who are going to come after us, just like Cam. Our veterans have given more than most of us could ever imagine. Time away from their families, years of dedications, and in many cases lasting scars, both seen and unseen. The least we can do for our veterans is to pause, reflect, and just say thank you. But even more than words, we can show that gratitude through action, by supporting our local veterans, listening to their stories, and ensuring that their service is never forgotten. Here in Hanover, we're blessed with a close-knit community, one that looks out for one another, celebrates together, and stands together in times of need. That sense of unity is exactly what our veterans fought to preserve. When we come together as neighbors and friends, we honor their legacy in the best possible way, by living out the values that they defended. So today, as we remember our veterans, let us also remember what they stood for: freedom, service, and community. Let's continue to build a Hanover that they would be proud to call home, just like I am. Lastly, to our non-veterans, the civilian community, thank you for your unwavering support for our veterans. And thank you for being the type of American worth fighting for, and more importantly, worth sacrificing for. That is just as important. Being the type of American that you want to be, so our veterans can actually sacrifice for and live up to. Thank you, and God bless our veterans, God bless this great community, and happy birthday, Marines. Hoorah, Semper Fi, Etiam and Pugno.
All right, so there she is. Esteemed chairperson of the Select Board of Hanover, Massachusetts, Rhonda Nyman, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you very much, Chief. And thank you, everyone. It's always a pleasure to come back to the Hanover Senior Center. Back in the day, I can remember when my late husband, Bob, made this a reality when we did not have a senior center here in Hanover. So it always brings back fond memories of when that all took place, and I'm glad to be here. I'd also like to just recognize my colleague, Steve Luco, is here this evening as well. Steve's over there, just give him a hello. Good evening, everyone. It really is truly an honor to be here with you tonight. On behalf of the Town of Hanover and the Select Board, I want to begin by thanking our veterans and your families for your service, your sacrifice, and your dedication to our country. Each of you answered a call to serve, often in challenging and dangerous circumstances, and you did so with courage, discipline, and commitment to something far greater than yourselves. The freedoms we enjoy today were built on the sacrifices you made, and your example of duty and honor continues to inspire us all. I'd also like to take a moment and thank and recognize our Veteran Service Officer, Terrence O'Keefe, for organizing tonight's dinner and for his ongoing work supporting our veterans and their families. see your dedication and service is very much appreciated. And to all our veterans, thank you for your service, your bravery, and your steadfast commitment to our nation. I just ask that everybody please enjoy the rest of the evening, the company of your fellow veterans, and know that your service will never be forgotten. And again, tonight is about gratitude, it's about thanks, and we can't give that enough to all of you. And I'd just like to say thank you again, everyone, for your service. And if I could, I just would like on a personal note, you told me I could come up and talk to you. See, that was a mistake. Just on a personal note, I was happy to serve also. Hanover didn't have a Veterans Memorial, and in my travels around in my political life, I would travel all the communities, and I would be in awe of some of the Veterans Memorials that were built, particularly the one in Rockland. I grew up in Rockland, and they have a beautiful. So we made that happen, and I'm proud of that, and I'm proud to see the veterans. Tomorrow there'll be a little bit of a gathering tomorrow at 11:11, and I'm glad to see that. And I'm glad to see that the students from the school have the opportunity to go over there. It's a reflection, it's a remembrance of what the sacrifices that you have all made. So I'm really proud of that. My father and my father-in-law were service members. I have a few nephews that are serving, and again, I just want to say thank you. Thank you so much.
Little impromptu. Thank you. Steve Luco, Select Board member, would like to say a few words. I didn't quite factor you in, and I apologize for that. Steve Luco, thank you.
I may not be as eloquent as some of the speakers that have their Marine Corps experience and really spoke from the heart. Our chair of the select board had a very wonderful speech too, but I have a few things that I would just like to talk about when we talk about veterans. And because today we gather here in gratitude to honor the men and women who have worn the uniform of our nation, who stood watch on distant shores or braved danger so that the rest of us might live in peace and freedom. To our veterans, we honor you. Your courage, your commitment, your willingness to bear burdens many of us cannot imagine. You carried those burdens bravely. Whether you served in times of declared war or in quiet vigilance, in uniform or in support roles, you contributed to the safety and security of this nation and the peace of the world. On this day, we recognize your duty, your loyalty, and your sacrifice. We honor those who returned home, and we remember those who did not. A few statistics here. According to Brown University's study of the cost of war, over 940,000 people were killed by direct post-9/11 war in Iraq, Afghanistan, Syria, Yemen, and Pakistan between 2001 and 2023. Of those, more than 432,000 were civilians. When you include the indirect death, the total rises to over 4.5 million. It's a lot of people. From the United States, over 7,000 U.S. service members have died in those post-9/11 wars, with many more wounded in body and spirit. The lives lost are real. In 2023 alone, the number of people estimated to have been killed in armed conflict around the world reached over 170,000. War takes a measurable toll on American lives. Looking back through the history of the United States before 9/11, and you add up all the wars together, it's almost 1.2 million U.S. service members have sacrificed their lives for this country. Among our veterans still with us, some carry physical wounds, others invisible scars. Some lost friends, others returned to lives changed irrevocably. We owe you more than gratitude. We owe you our continued care and our promise not to forget. Veterans Day is not just a date on the calendar, it's a living promise, a promise that we will remember, that we will tell our children who these heroes are, so you're not forgotten. We will honor their courage, not only with words, but the choices that we make. And to our veterans, those here with us and those no longer among us, we thank you. You answered the call that few fully understand until they have lived it. You gave up comfort for hardship, safety for uncertainty, and often you carried the weight of those experiences that linger long after the battle. Your service reminds us that freedom is never free, and that its cost is measured not only in lives lost, but in the lives forever changed. On this Veterans Day, it is appropriate to not only honor our veterans' lives, but also to reflect on the heavy cost of war to our shared hope for peace. Globally, just recently, military spending is at a historic high. In 2024, the world's total military expenditure rose to $2.7 trillion, a 9.4% increase year over year. And it's at the highest level that's ever been recorded at. When tens of billions, hundreds of billions, or even trillions of dollars go to military budgets, it's less than available for health care, veteran services, education, housing, infrastructure, and peace building. The United Nations position on this is that a secure world begins by investing at least as much in war and war fighting as it is to invest in poverty or creating opportunity and building human dignity. Because war imposes burdens on populations with displaced families, shattered communities, lost opportunities, and disrupted economies. The UN study found that in war-affected populations, the downstream negative effects on employment, health, and social well-being can last for generations. So today, while we honor veterans, let us also hold in our hearts the cost of war. Let us honor your willingness to fight, and let us honor the commitment to the possibility for peace. As we honor those who fought, we must remember what they fought for. Not for war itself, but for peace. Not for conquest, but for the right of all people to live with dignity and hope. And to all our veterans, we say your service has made a difference. Because you stood guard, because you sacrificed, because you bore burdens for others and to live and breathe freely today. For that, we give you our deepest gratitude. To those of us who are responsible for finding peace, elected officials and citizens of all communities, let us commit that we will use the example of your service to choose wisely, that we will invest in the foundations of peace, including diplomacy, education, development, and human dignity, and that we will remember that the truest victory is a world in which fewer people must fight and die. Today we pledge that we will honor you, support you, and learn from you. We'll remember the price paid and recommit to the cause of peace for which you volunteered to fight. The greatest way we can honor our veterans is to build the kind of world that you dreamed of. One where courage is measured not by our willingness to fight, but by our commitment to prevent war when we can. A world where this diplomacy, understanding, and compassion are not signs of weakness, but of wisdom and strength. Let us remember the families, the spouses, parents, children, and friends who bear their own quiet burdens of sacrifice. They too have served in their own way, through sleepless nights and anxious moments of waiting. So today we gather together beneath our flag to renew our pledge to care for our veterans, to support those who serve, and to seek peace with the same determination with which we defend it. In their honor, let us be worthy of the freedom they preserved. Let us be citizens who strive not only to remember the past, but to shape a more just and peaceful world. And in closing, let us stand together, veterans, military families, fellow citizens, in gratitude, in reflection, in hope. May we honor the past, embrace the present, and build a future where the brave service of our men and women in uniform is matched by a collective will to ensure that war is not the only choice and peace is not the distant dream. To all veterans, thank you for your service. We honor you today and every day. Thank you.
before I read the proclamation for Veterans Day, just a quick exit speech for myself. Thank you, everybody, very much for coming out tonight. After the proclamation, we will do our 50-50 raffle, and we'll call out the numbers for the door prizes, because that's what everybody's here for. We're not here for the food or the camaraderie, right? Here for the money and the prizes. I appreciate everybody's patience when I first started out here last year. It was a little bit rocky while I was learning the job, but I hope to God that I've gotten a good handle on it, and I'm serving you guys all the best that I can. I can't appreciate you guys enough. You have given me a different look at what it means to be a veteran. The longest time, I did my time when I was in, got out, lived a hell life, but I circle back to being able to come together for service. I know I've helped a lot of veterans, excuse me, voluntarily in the past, but I've gotten the chance to make it a career and to serve the community, not just in Hanover, but across the state, and Lord willing, across the country someday. All right, that'll be enough of that. Enough from the heart. The Commonwealth of Massachusetts, the proclamation. Whereas, since the Commonwealth's earliest days, thousands of men and women have served our country in defense of freedom and liberty. And whereas on November 11th, 1918, after 4 years of conflict, the armistice was signed in the forest of Champagne by Allied nations and Germany, ending World War I, the war to end all wars. And since that day, every November, people from around the nation have gathered to honor our veterans. And whereas in November 2025, the world will commemorate the 107th anniversary of the armistice that ended the fighting in World War I at 11 a.m. on November 11th, 1918, the 11th hour of the 11th day of the 11th month. And whereas there are approximately 300,000 veterans living in Massachusetts, and whereas in recognition of the sacrifices made by those who have served our great nation, Massachusetts remains committed to supporting its veterans community through the HERO Act, honoring, empowering, and recognizing our service members and veterans. And whereas today we are reminded of the great sacrifices and contributions our veterans have made to our country, and whereas we honor and salute those who served our country throughout the generations with honor, patriotism, and courage. And whereas it is appropriate that all Massachusetts residents remember the bravery of those who served their country, so that their dedication and sacrifices serve as a reminder of the cost of our freedom. Now, therefore, I, Maura T. Healy, Governor of the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, do hereby proclaim November 11th, 2025 to be Veterans Day, and urge all residents of the Commonwealth to take cognizance of this event and participate fittingly in its observance. Given at the Executive Chamber in Boston, this 11th day of November in the year 2025, and of the independence of the United States of America, the 249th, by Her Excellency Maura T. Healy, Governor of the Commonwealth, Kimberly Driscoll, Lieutenant Governor of the Commonwealth, and William Francis Galvin, Secretary of the Commonwealth. God save the Commonwealth of Massachusetts.